Welcome to an easy guide for citing sources in speeches. I'm Robert Yeo. There are a number of reasons why you should cite sources in your speeches. First, you should cite sources in your speeches to avoid plagiarism. If you are using information in your speech without crediting the source of that information, you are committing plagiarism, which is a form of academic dishonesty. Next, you should cite sources in your speeches to increase your credibility as a speaker. If you use well-researched and credible sources to support the claims you make in your presentations, and cite them properly throughout the speech, you actually increase your credibility with the audience. Third, you should cite sources in speeches in order to ensure confidence in what you're saying. If you have a speech that is not well supported with credible citations, you are unlikely to be confident delivering that speech, no matter how much you have prepared. Fourth, you should cite sources in your speeches to convince your audience that what you say is accurate. Study after study has documented the effect that credible sources have on the persuasiveness of a message. Finally, you should cite sources in your speeches to provide your audience with all the information needed to conduct further research. It may be that your topic sparks an interest with an individual in your audience, and as a speaker, you need to provide the audience with the information necessary to find the sources you've used in your speech. There are 3 different types of citations you'll need to be familiar with for your speech outlines. APA citations use the format specified by the American Psychological Association. There are 2 types of APA citations you'll be using for this class. In-text citations are placed in your outline near the information that came from the source, and also the references section, which provides a reader with all the necessary information to find the exact source that you specify. The second type of citations you'll use in this class are oral citations. These are placed in the text of your speech and are spoken as you deliver your presentation orally to the audience. It's important to remember that you need all 3 types of citations in your speech outlines. So let's talk about APA in-text citations. Following the APA citation manual, an in-text APA citation is just a small notation after a piece of cited information. It is this small notation that tells the audience which source in the references section contains the information that you're presenting. The text areas highlighted in red on the screen right now are the APA in-text citations in this section of the speech outline. Now, if you look at the references page for this speech, you can see that this section is where the full citation information is presented. The reference section lists, in APA style and alphabetical order, all of the sources that are cited in the body of the speech. This means that every single oral APA in-text citation pair should have a corresponding entry in the references page. Similarly, there should be no entries in the references page that aren't cited orally and with APA in-text citations in the body of the speech. You can see here how each oral APA citation pair has a corresponding entry in the references section. This is the way it should be for all of your outlines that have sources in this class. For more information about APA formatting for various types of sources, visit Purdue's online writing lab at owl.english.purdue.edu and click on the link to the APA Formatting and Style Guide. So now that you understand the basics of APA in-text citations and APA references, let's turn our attention to oral citations. Oral citations are what you say while you're delivering your speech, so that the audience who can't read your outline and see your APA citations knows where your information is coming from. Providing oral citations for the audience is a great way to build your credibility and provide evidence for the audience that the information you're delivering is accurate. There's no real formula for oral citations. You can see here that each of the oral citations is worded in a slightly different way, but they all communicate to the audience exactly where the information came from. Because there's no formula for oral citations, it's important that you remember this guiding principle. And if you get nothing else from this entire learning module, I hope you'll get this. The audience should be able to locate the source of your information with only the information contained in your oral citation. Now that you understand the basic requirements of oral citations, please take time to review the Oral Citation Guidelines document located on the Blackboard website. This document contains specific requirements for a number of different types of oral citations and will be a helpful resource for you as you prepare your speeches and speech outlines. You'll also want to review it prior to completing the quiz for this learning module. Each of the pages in this guidelines document contains a few key pieces of information you'll want to make note of, like the entry for a book oral citation that you see in front of you. First, at the top of each page, you'll find the oral citation requirements in red. This is the minimum information required for an oral citation in order for it to comply with our guiding principle, that the audience should be able to find the source of the information with only the information presented in your oral citation. The middle of the slide, in green, will present several examples of ways the oral citation could be delivered. Now remember, these are not exhaustive lists, and you should feel free to create oral citations that fit well with your personal style, while meeting the basic requirements of that particular source's oral citation. Finally, at the bottom of the slide, there are extra tips for using that type of source in an oral citation. This completes an easy guide for citing sources in speeches.